Welcome to Experience Points, presented by our friends at Avtex, who transform customer experience through CX design and orchestration. On Experience Points, contestants earn points by answering customer experience questions and share their insight on how to make your interactions remarkable. Those points turn into dollars for the charity of their choosing. I'm Dan Gingiss.
And I'm Joey Coleman, and we'd love to introduce you to today's contestant. She's a business reinvention expert and technology strategist. She's a professional speaker and business coach, and she's been featured in more than 500 online publications and print publications. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please welcome Marquesa Petway to Experience Points.
Yay! I'm excited. I'm going to win a car. Oh, no.
All right, Marquesa, what is one thing about you that you haven't shared with an audience before?
That I cried on the plane when I changed my life right out of college and moved to New York City. I cried like a baby. I remember the song that was playing by Regina Belle saying, "A whole new world." I can't sing like her, but she was playing, that song was playing in my ears, and I was terrified because I was going to my comfortable home state of Texas, because I was born in Dallas and went to college in Houston, and then right out of college moved to New York to have that thing called a career, work for CNN Business News, and I just was terrified. All I could think about was Charles Bronson and Death Wish, and moved to New York City. And so since that time, I've been pretty much stuck here. I've come to love New York, but I've been stuck here. So audiences, I really don't share that piece.
Well, Marquesa, you're going to be playing for a special organization today. Could you tell us a little bit about who you're playing for and why you're excited to support them?
Oh my goodness. Well, Black NSA, it is a community group of NSA, which is National Speakers Association. And I'm extra excited because everyone knows racial unrest is big. And it's frankly, it's been an ongoing issue for many generations, but it's even bigger now in this particular decade. And Black NSA, we're making big moves. I think we're people are starting to realize why we exist. And I'm happy to say that Black NSA, we're going to be the first Black speakers only database on eSpeakers. So I'm excited. So Black NSA, we're doing it.
That is awesome. And you know what I love about you playing for this, Marquesa, which has not really been true of our other contestants, is that you're not only playing for this organization to make money, but you're among the leadership of the organization as well. And you're giving your time and your expertise to it too, which is fantastic. So we hope you make lots of money for them today. And today we're going to be playing a game called What Happened?
In What Happened, watch the first half of an experience story. Choose what you think happens next from 4 possible endings. Answer correctly for 500 points. If incorrect, you'll be granted an extra life and the opportunity to answer from the remaining 3 endings for 250 points.
So let's earn some money for Black NSA. You ready to get started?
I am ready, Dad. I'm ready, guys. Let's do this.
All right, fantastic. Well, our What Happened story today comes from Ryan Baker. Ryan is a social media customer care manager at Nutrisystem Inc. in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And here's the first half of Ryan's story.
Hey everyone, my name's Ryan Baker, and if you know me, you know that I am a huge tea nerd. I love drinking it, I love talking about it, I love giving information to people more than they probably want to know. It's just a huge part of my life and a huge passion of mine. And a few years ago, I was getting started on blogging about it because I wanted to share my passion with the world. And I have a particular brand that I had been ordering a lot from for a couple of years, but they had this lookbook, which was a book about all of their teas, and they didn't have it for sale at the time. And so I wrote them to ask if they would be willing to allow me to purchase a copy. And I think they had used it at like certain events and things like that. And what happened next was just amazing to me.
Okay, Marquesa, now we need to figure out what happened next. We're going to give you 4 choices. So A, the company mocked him by asking what he would want a lookbook for and what he was going to do with it. B, they said the book wasn't for sale, but they sent him some tea samples and some coupons. C, they sent a copy of the lookbook plus a box of tea samples and some branded swag. Or D, they sent a copy of the lookbook and decided to name their newest tea after him. All right, so those are your 4 options, Marquesa. Tell us which one you think is what happened next and why you think that. Explain your reasoning.
Well, you know what? A, that's just bad customer service. Why would you mock a customer, somebody that's really into you? So A is out. D is out because, hey, I may love my customers, but naming them after naming it. Well, you know what? I just don't see them naming a tea after a customer. And then, so it has to be B or C. B is said the book wasn't for sale, but sent him some tea samples and coupons. So he sent a copy of the book. You know what? This is a tough one. I really hope they did C. But you know what? I could also see B though. And I'm thinking, what would Dan say? So part of me thinks in the real world, lookbook, it wouldn't be for sale. It really wouldn't. But you know what? I'm going to send you some samples and some coupons. Companies can't afford to send swag out unless they're going to have an event or, you know what I mean? Or something that they're a launch or a promotion. So I'm going to go with B, y'all. The businesswoman in me says B, baby, B.
Now, Marquesa, you said B. I'm curious about your debate, your internal debate here, because you started by saying you want it to be C. So explain to me why you want it to be C.
Well, C, they're sending a copy of the lookbook. I see. Okay, so maybe I meant C then. Well, they sent them a copy because I'm thinking B, they still sent a copy of the book, but it wasn't for sale. C, they sent copy of the lookbook plus a box of tea, samples, and swag. But you know what? I'm overthinking it because swag can be very inexpensive. It could be a sticker. It could be, you know what I mean, a nose. So if I had to redo it, I would say C.
All right, so you're going to say C, and is that your final answer?
Oh, gosh. Money for blanket and say, oh, my gosh. Because A is not clear whether they sent the book.
I want to clarify for you and for the audience. In B, they do not send the book because it's not available.
Okay. Okay, so you know what? It's gotta be C because you're a customer service expert and you're all about customer service experience. So I would have to say C.
All right, Joey.
Not only did Rishi send me a copy of their lookbook after I had asked them for it, they also sent me a box that had Rishi swag and samples of tea for me to try. And let me tell you, when I opened this box, it turned into Christmas for me. I was just so excited. It was just such a great gesture by them. They didn't have to send all of that stuff, but they knew I was getting started. They knew I loved their brand, and I tell everybody about them now. I love their brand, and I blog about them a lot. They cemented me as a customer.
Yes! Congratulations!
Oh my
Woo! You trusted your gut. You got it. That's fantastic. And I don't know if you heard at the end when he says they cemented me as a customer. Friends, it is so easy to create a lifelong customer if you just go that extra mile and do something unexpected. You do that special thing. I mean, Ryan even mentions in the video, it turned into Christmas for me. It turned into Christmas for me. He was so excited. Absolutely love it. Marquesa, could you speak a little, because you were back and forth between B or C a little bit, right? And kind of which decision you wanted to go with. You kind of mentioned that you thought the typical response would be more like B, where they just send some coupons and maybe a couple samples, but that the great customer experience would be to go above and beyond. Why is it that you think most companies don't do that?
Oh, wow. Keeping it 100? Because they don't have the manpower. It's not a priority. I do not think companies, some will not do it because, or typically be because they want to be. I think it's because it's just not a priority. And they're overwhelmed trying to make money and trying to stay focused on serving clients. So going above and beyond really means you got to be organized. You got to make it a priority. It does cost money. You got to have some kind of budget for it. So I think that's why it is. But watching this, I'm like, after seeing that video, I'm going to make sure I make my company more the C and not the B.
Yeah, and you mentioned the cost to the swag when you were trying to think about it. And I mean, in hindsight now, I'd say the Teeb company's probably really happy they invested in that and sent it to him, right? Because they've cemented a fan for life. He's a blogger. He's telling everybody about it. He goes on a game show and tells people about it. And that's the best marketing that you can have. That's so much better than any marketing they can put together, is to have a true fan of theirs talking about them. And I think that is that's amazing. And you know what, Marquesa, you already do that because you created a fan in me when we met. And I talk about you all the time. As you know, you're now in my keynote. I talk about you in my keynote. So you already do that, whether you know it or not. But I think it's such an important facet for companies to find your fans and then really nurture them, because they are the ones that want to help you do well.
Oh, I love it. Yes. This is so cool, and I'm learning so much.
Oh, Marquesa, we're learning from you, too. I'd love to, if I may, jump up on a little soapbox real quick, and we can pull me back down here in a second, but I'd love to get your thoughts on this as somebody who coaches and works with so many executives and businesses. It never ceases to amaze me how much people say on the customer experience side, well, how much is that going to cost? And how much are we going to spend? And, oh, but what about every dollar? We can't send a box of swag because swag costs money. We can't do that. Yet on the marketing side, marketing often comes to the table and is like, hey, we want to buy a Super Bowl ad, or we want to wrap all the trucks in this design for this one photo shoot we're doing. And it doesn't seem like there's the same level of scrutiny on return on investment when we're acquiring a customer as there is when we're maintaining or retaining a customer. And I'd love your thoughts on why that is, and without, leading the witness too much, why that may be short-sighted.
You know what? Honestly, I think it's because you don't know what you don't know. You feel like, all right, I have to market. I have to sell. And in your mind, for a lot of us, we think customer service means I just want to make sure you're happy and you're getting what you purchased. We sometimes do not realize that going above and beyond, and that can be tough if you don't have a whole lot of support, but going above and beyond, even with little things, can make all the difference in the world. And I think about some of places that I'm a customer of and how I'm a customer for life. I rave about it for those little things. So what I'm learning here is, you know what? As a marketer, I have to say this, sometimes customer service is or should be a marketing strategy.
Such a great point. I agree, Marquesa. All right, Dan, let's recap. How did Marquesa do playing What Happened?
Well, Joey, I am pleased to say that in this game, correct answers are worth 500 points, and Marquesa answered correctly, which means she earned the 500 points. And as we know, those points convert into dollars, which means, Marquesa, you earned a $500 donation to Black NSA. Congratulations.
Woo! Woo! Oh my goodness, I'm hearing music in my mind. Black NSA, Black NSA. That makes me so happy. Guys, this is huge. This helps us launch, bring on a team to help us get the message out, because we hear all the time, oh, well, I need a black, do you know a black person that speaks on this? Do you know an expert that we can call? Well, you know what? Now you don't have to kill my inbox and wait for me to get back to you. Now you can go right to our database, type in whatever you need, and you're good to go. So this makes me happy.
Well, that concludes this episode of Experience Points. Check out more games with Marquesa and our other celebrity contestants at experiencepointsgame.com. That's experiencepointsgame.com. We'll see you soon for more examples of remarkable experiences here at Experience Points, presented by Avtex.
I talk about this all the time. It's the power of moments. I know that Chip and Dan Heath wrote that book, called The Power of Moments, and boy, that was true. They created a moment. They created a moment for this guy by sending him, the book and some tea samples, and he even said it. It was like Christmas. Well, Christmas is a moment that only comes, once a year. So it really speaks to how powerful creating a moment for a customer is, and then the referral cascade, and especially since we live in a very, what I would call participative economy, where people are doing reviews, they're talking about it on the blogs, they're talking about it on Facebook. It doesn't take long, and that moment, gets spread to 1,000 people or 10,000 people extremely quickly.